Welcome back, everyone. I thought I'd let you enjoy the intro sequence for a few more seconds there.
Oh, how considerate.
Enjoyed. We are back with another episode of Faithful to the Traitors, where we continue to side with the traitors and will them on to win.
Wow. Are we a bit biased? Is that what you're saying? We used to always take the side of the traitors?
Well, the show is Faithful to the Traitors, so...
The TV show, The Traitors.
Oh,
not necessarily
I thought it was not the traitors, but the traitors.
The Traitors, yeah. Faithful to the Traitors.
Well, I need
not
to
faithful
record
to the Traitors.
our whole podcast history then.
Well,
I need to redo it all.
it's a shame that it's taken you this long to figure it out. I'm sure you were the one who came up with the name. Now I'm going to think of it.
No, you came up with the name actually, and I agreed that it was a good name for once.
Very
rare.
A minor moment in my life where I actually had acknowledgement of something. Yes. Well, I did. My whole life.
Even though I side with the traitors, I am, of course, 100% a faithful around this microphone round table.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Alex.
Oh, I'm Ben. I didn't even say my name.
I thought so. So I thought I'd quickly introduce myself. I'm Alex, and I'm also 100% faithful. Although now you've put the idea in my head, I feel like we do lean strongly toward the traitors.
Well, the traitors are playing a more fun game, I feel.
Yeah. I suppose they're the interesting ones to talk about.
Should you be pro-liars? Don't know.
In this case, I say in the American version, in this case, other than Kate, who seems to have just almost
played her own game,
but she's kind of run away. It's weird with me with Kate. Because I just feel like she's kind of, I think that, yeah, she's a bit of a prat, but actually, I don't mind her.
That's what I said last episode. Like, she's played in a horrible game and not a game that I personally agree with. But I do feel like she's playing it because she's thought she'd maybe be the popular one, but she's not. And she doesn't like that. So she's like acting out, I feel.
Also, something I said in the last episode was that the reason why Rachel and Kate clash so much is because they're very similar people. And on this episode 8 of the American series of the UK, of the traitors, not the UK traitors, of the American series of the traitors, I think that this was the first time where we saw the true colours of old Rachel. And we really saw quite a spiteful, mean, game-playing
Yes, you
person.
saw, I guess it was like the moment where she was backed into a corner, like a wild caged beast.
Yeah, but she was lashing out
and like that's
everyone.
what happens, isn't it? Like she knew, I think she knew, like, okay, this, no matter what I say now, I'm gone. So she just kind of just let it rip and was trying to just say anything to anyone to try and sway the votes.
Yeah, but she wasn't doing it in a very convincing way. Even Quentin said, like, you learn a lot from people who are under pressure. And I basically, from the way you reacted to the accusations that were being put upon you.
But she was a faithful though, so him saying that, you didn't actually learn much from it.
Well, I learned that she was very similar to Kate, which was my presumption on the last episode. And
Kate suddenly thought she was on the high horse and
looked
this
down
is
there. No, this is the thing. Now
Kate
that's
was like,
happened.
You're being very inappropriate.
Yeah.
Coming from her who threw money away into a field.
When all this happened, when all is said and done, this has kind of put Kate, I feel it's funny. I think Kate actually felt difficult. She couldn't be herself around Rachel, and now Rachel's gone and she's kind of coming out and blossoming a little bit now, and she's becoming this kind of a bit more considerate, kinder Kate. Like, you saying about Rachel being put in the corner, maybe Kate's felt like she's been put in this corner. Don't put Kate in the corner with a watermelon.
It's impossible to put her in the corner.
Throw that watermelon over you. But yeah, we're jumping ahead a little bit because we should start right at the top. Because obviously,
what happened? I can't remember.
They recruited
going on.
a new traitor.
Yes, that's what's this. Yes,
Ari, our mate Ari.
He said yes.
He was invited.
It's like The Bachelor all over again, isn't it?
It was.
They gave him a rose. He said yes.
And then took it away and then went with another group. No. He stuck with them this time. And he accepted it. So what does that do with the dynamic then? Because obviously there's a new guy in the group. And
there is. And Christian did like one of the most silly things possible.
Why do they do this? Why do the traitors, as soon as they like have the front foot, like they've got the upper hand, the upper hand of the game, which clearly by recruiting a new traitor they have. The biggest problem the biggest headache they should have had from this point would be Ari kind of not being able to play it very well. And to be fair, he was fine. He kind of walked in and everything seemed fine at the breakfast table. Why is it that every time they're in a comfortable position, the traitors,
They do this weird thing.
They do something stupid where they announce something. Cody did it, and that got him into trouble. And so then that got him knocked off. And then Christian did it. And Christian was my man. Christian was my bro. Christian was the guy who was
Quentin.
He was winning the show for me. He was in complete control. He
had it all in the palm of his hand.
He really did.
Let it go. I know it's
messed it up. That was a weird thing to do.
It was because it made everyone suspicious of him. I can kind of see where he thought doing that makes him look really innocent. It makes him look like a faithful. He's like he put himself in the shoes of Ari. Ari,
yeah. We know it's Ari.
If
it's just
he
like
said,
him Ari.
yeah, Ari, our Prince Ari. If Ari said no, that's what he would have said at the breakfast. So he sort of thought, right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put my shoes in that they've tried to recruit me, but I said no because I'm such a faithful. And he thought that would then crown him as like the
king.
You can't be a faithful. You're not even going to be up for discussion, and then he can win. But
you're 100% faithful.
But unfortunately. These lot in this castle, as Rachel found out, you can't, even your best mates or your pact or your team, you can't really rely on, because at the last minute things can switch and they can just vote for you out of the littlest things. And
he did that to himself, like Cody did to himself. I forget what Cody did. He said something. He said when Kyle left, wasn't it? He said that Kyle told him
Ryan was going to vote people or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
and that got him into trouble. And then the faithful went against him. And it looks like that's happening now with Christian.
Traitors, yeah.
Because at the end of the episode, Suri said, well, it looks as though we're going to have to now get rid of Christian.
Yeah, because he will keep bringing him up.
Done a big cock up.
Yes.
Yeah. And
because no one was bringing him up before.
No one brought him up once.
And now every single person.
Yes, exactly. Well, encouraged by Rachel. Rachel was the one who encouraged it, which again was a detriment to herself, because then she kind of put herself in the firing line too, putting her in danger with the round table.
And Stephanie stuck up for Rachel. Stephanie is who Christian said to Ari, like, we need to get her murdered. We need to banish Rachel, murder Stephanie. Otherwise, we've messed up. Well, he was saying we, but it's really him who's messed up, and Ari was kind of just tagging along. And
but it's funny
they seem to have pushed Suri out a little bit.
That's what I was about to say. Suri seems to have been put into like in their pockets. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and it's funny this friendship between Ari and Christian has developed very quickly. Now they've kind of bonded very quickly over the fact that they're now traitors
and they're
together.
there to help each other. Like, because Ari was like, oh, this could be bad for Christian, I've got to help him because we're both traitors now. Where Suri's kind of on the outskirts, being like
watching in, and she's not getting involved either. Like Ari and I love how I call him Ari. I can't say any other way. I'm sorry, I tried. Ari and Christian both have been having little secret conversations with one another, leaving Suri out. And Suri is kind of just having conversations. As you say, she's almost like an honorary faithful now.
Well, she is, because she's got really strong bond with Stephanie. And Stephanie's quite switched on. And with Andy as well. And Andy seems to be quite popular. And they said that they are like, people have said that they are 100%. They're like, they are the only one who is 100% faithful in this whole thing. So that's a really good standing point for them. Because
I think Christian and Ari are the two that the names that keep coming up now. So I think, do you think, so let's...
Ari's name nearly came up before though, did it really?
It got mentioned a couple of times. Yeah. It did get mentioned a couple of times.
It was like the Rachel Stephanie team.
Yeah, Rachel and Stephanie were kind of the two that they kind of... Again, Andy's a bit of an outsider too, and Andy feels very hurt now as well. So she's kind of... they're very determined to get themselves the money, because they've gone through all this torture mentally, that they're now
we just need
contemplating how they can get rid of a traitor.
And there's lots of traitors compared to faithful.
No, well, with the murder at the end, presumably at the beginning of episode 9, next episode, that means there's going to be 50-50, 50% traitors, 50%.
And there's two faithful. More round tables, and then that's it.
Yeah. Well, the last round table we know is an extended round table, because they do the round table and then they do presumably if it's done the same way, then they do the fire pit.
Yeah, we don't know. But it's the numbers aren't very good, because one of those faithfuls is Kate, which barely counts as a faithful.
Yeah, but well, she is faithful.
I know, but
people believe she's a faithful. This is what I mean. She's done a complete
but I
180
don't
in
think
the whole
they'll
group.
want her to get any money because of all the things she did during the missions.
Yeah, but
Like,
other
they're
than
going to
murder,
punish her last minute.
where would they benefit by banishing her? They wouldn't benefit from banishing
to punish
her.
her for messing up the missions. I think they
she did it
will
twice,
banish
but
her at the
on
last
this-
round table.
Well, on this mission, she didn't mess up,
That's
though.
true.
In fact, she was very good.
Mm-hmm.
She was helping Suri
Yeah,
around.
Suri said she would have quit if it wasn't for Kate.
For Kate. So Kate stood up after Quentin's kind of like, please, we got to win $35,000.
Do you want to hear something and tell me what you were hearing?
I believe that could be Kate screaming.
Kate and Suri. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Panic.
You're gonna be dreaming of that tonight. You're gonna be having the best night of sleep of your life, thinking of how Kate was screaming her lungs out with maggots going all over her face.
They struggled with that mission, didn't they? Both teams.
They had I'm sorry. Again, I'm comparing it to the British version because you can because they played the exact same game. The British one was far harder than the
I'm
ones
sure
the
they didn't have
Americans
as many
had.
bugs in the British one though.
They had water. They dropped
Sorry?
water on them.
Well, exactly. That's not as bad, is it? I would have hated bugs.
I think they dropped bugs and water on them.
Oh, did they?
Because we
Okay.
likened
And there was
it.
another
We
lock
likened
at the
it to
end
I'm a
of the level, I
Celebrity.
think, wasn't there?
There's what?
Another lock at the end to get out. I think there was a
Yeah,
third
they
puzzle.
saw that perspex wall that was in the centre with the holes in it. There was a third part, and they had to, in the British version, they had to put their hands in and then lift part by part by putting one hand out, putting one hand in, and then carrying
that
it over
was
to the
it,
next
yes.
bit. And that got a key, and they took that. Then they each had a key, which then got them out of the cabin.
But
They didn't have that
just
last
unlocked,
bit.
wasn't it?
Well, they were very close on time. They had like 10 seconds left, and they'd only done those two things. All they had to do, I know, yes, all right. God, this is me saying, well, all they had to do, it's not that bad, is they had to count how many rats were in there.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. When I think, was it Ari that said, oh, let's count the thing? And I laughed, thinking, oh, idiot. That's not world. You don't count the rats. It's somewhere on a shelf. But no, you actually, so I was impressed they thought of that, because I wouldn't have.
That's what they
I would
did.
have laughed at them.
That's exactly what they did.
But he got another shield as well, a third one.
Third in a row, old Harry, which is good for him when they go up the turret for their...
Yeah, because he's got a shield, so no
Murder.
one. If people think, well, why didn't they murder you? You must be a traitor. He'd be like, no, I had the shield. So it's a really good out.
Win-win.
It's really good for a traitor to have a shield.
Yep.
Because it's like a really easy thing at breakfast to just. That's that.
It's an easy way out, isn't it? So we're going to talk about the round table then. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. So everyone, it's funny. It started off with Kate just looking up and saying, "Rachel, I think you're a traitor." Rachel then responded with the same
Thank
respect
you.
of, "Thank you, you're the traitor." Then Kate said, "These are the reasons." Yeah. Kate then said, it was like a tennis match, wasn't it? Kate then said the reasons why she thought Rachel was a traitor. Rachel then gave the reasons why she thought Kate was a traitor. And then she looked up and looked around the whole table, expecting support from everyone, saying, "Who else believes that I'm a traitor?
That's
Who
where
else
she-
says to Kate?" And then it was a bit quiet for a bit. And then Rachel even said, "See no one," to Kate. And then poor old Andy
Yes,
put
they
their
spoke
hand up
up.
and went, "Actually, I've had my suspicions." And that was
it.
it. That was like
was.
turning on the tap. It just
Yeah. 'Cause
flooded
Suri
out.
said she doesn't want to vote. She said, like, to the camera, not on the round table, but she said, I don't want to vote for Rachel because she was kind of she was using her as a support thing.
Yeah.
But she has to follow the census of the table to not stand out.
Yeah.
So that's why it was sort of
Makes perfect sense.
and that's why because Christian wanted her out and Ari wanted her out, so everyone had to go through. But Stephanie was the only one who didn't.
Yes.
But the trouble is, Rachel and Stephanie thought Kate was the traitor, and she's not a traitor. So, like,
Yeah.
even if Kate did get voted out, she would have said that I'm faithful. That would have then made Stephanie and Rachel look like traitors.
That's the funny
So-
thing. I mean, if Suri, Ari, and Christian kind of just Christian didn't actually say very much at the round table, and that was his.
I don't think he said one thing. He just
He-
sort of
he deliberately
had
didn't say
his
anything.
hand in his head, in her hand in his head. I don't know.
His
which
hand
one
in
was
his
it?
head. What a skill!
His head in his hands, elbows on the table, and then that was it. He just
But
let
that was
it
his
go.
plan. He
Yeah,
said he didn't
let
want to
it
say
go.
anything. He didn't want to say
He said
anything
enough
else.
at breakfast, I feel.
Exactly. He said enough over the Cocoa Pops. But but like Suri and Ari, really, if they thought about it, if they took a moment to think about it, if they took a beat, they probably could have worked out that if they just got Kate out, as you say, that would have shown that Kate wasn't, they know that she's not a traitor, they would have shown that she wasn't a traitor, then that would have put the finger of suspicion immediately onto Rachel, and that would have saved them, I think. That would save them more.
But I wonder if that same thing has happened, but the other way around. Now people may suspect Kate more.
I don't think they do. I really don't think they
No,
do.
'cause she's played such a weird game that she can't possibly be a traitor.
She's kind of... She's
just played her own rules.
Well, it's the way
It's
she's
Kate's
played
world.
it.
We're just living it.
And
Exactly that. Kate's castle. She's played such a bizarre game that there's no sort of sense or rhyme to it. So she probably couldn't be a traitor because it's just so random. And like, if she was a traitor and she was going wild like this, the other traitors would have probably backstabbed her by now.
Well,
like
they know
did
that
Cody.
They know that. Well, Kate said herself that she knows she's not going to get murdered because the traitors see her as a shield. If there's ever an emergency situation they need to get out of very quickly, Kate's out. Kate's gone. But I do think that the group consensus, genuinely, who aren't traitors, think that Kate isn't a traitor. No. I think they don't think she's a traitor.
So she
isn't. The thing is,
they got one thing right.
What makes me laugh is that every time that Rachel pointed the finger at Kate, is the way Kate would just react with okay. And it's like a lot of people would be like, you need to defend yourself, you need to fight for the fact that you're not. But Kate didn't do that, and it worked for her. Why did it work for Kate, but with other people it didn't?
Because Kate says okay, whatever, round the round table, but she also follows that up by okay, whatever, with every single aspect of the game. With the
that's just her personality.
It's just like, I'll walk down this hill, but I won't run down the hill.
But I wonder if Rachel hadn't been so... Because Rachel, like you said, it was like letting off a firework. As soon as she felt like one person was suspicious of her, it meant that she suddenly let loose, and a different side of Rachel came out. Well, I suppose you're right. With Kate, a different side has never been shown. She's always just been Kate.
Kate's world.
Yeah, it's Kate's world. We live in it. Well, with Rachel, as soon as this accusation came out,
she switched, and then that puts everyone's back up.
Yeah, and that made people think otherwise.
Yeah, it's almost a bit of a disadvantage for some of these guys for being contestants of past shows, because I think that was Cody's disadvantage.
Yeah,
because they knew this pre-existing way that he works reality shows. That made them more suspicious than what they probably should have, because he kind of just stepped back and let things go. And the same with Rachel. They were saying, oh, you're known to be this backstabbing woman who can separate emotion and gameplay, so that's why we didn't trust you. So it's actually a bit of a disadvantage not being a civilian in this game, because people have this pre-existing idea of you.
You also said, actually, when we were watching this episode, that the Traitors game... must be a very tough game.
Yes, because it's breaking some of the best players.
It's breaking these apparently amazing players of
wasn't
reality
Cody
TV.
And Rachel meant to be known as like some of the best, like
on Big Brother
US. Contestants. And now on this one, they're the ones breaking down, crying, and getting upset and all sorts.
Yeah. Even Suri's like
struggling.
You know what I mean?
I know. So it must be tough.
So in a weird way, I think coming out
tough old game,
coming from it from a kind of like a different angle, like Christian is, perhaps it's a bit easier for him. But then
Christian
having said
and
that,
Andy and Quinton,
Andy's having a hard time though. They're not finding it very easy either.
That's why they want to win, because they're like, I've been through all this stuff. I have to win, otherwise it wasn't worth it.
Exactly.
Basically.
And I don't blame them at all. I agree with that. I'd feel like at this point, day 8.
I'm surprised no one's come to suspect Quinton at all yet. He's kind of... He's wrong a lot of the time with his theories. 100% of the time I think he's wrong. But no one's ever questioned him.
He's
or
not offensive though.
Him.
He doesn't go out deliberately to try to cause trouble. He doesn't point fingers at directly without any kind of basis behind it. The basis might not necessarily be right, but he at least has the logic to it. So I feel like Quentin's a bit so inoffensive that he's kind of just stayed out of the kind of like the pointing.
Yeah, but he's quite smart, isn't he? He says things. He doesn't say a lot, but what he says sounds correct, even if we know it's not correct what he's saying. But he's good at putting his point across directly and non sort of threatening.
Yeah,
threatening.
Yeah. No, I don't mind Quentin actually, but it's getting, like you say, it's getting close to the final now, isn't it? And I guess we're gonna have a murder happening on the beginning of the 9th episode. So
I mean, so much was going on in this episode. They didn't even
No.
reach the turret, did they? They ended on Chris Christian and Ari going upstairs joking,
giggling to
going
themselves,
to bed together.
like ha 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 ha. We
Let's
got
go
away
to
with that
bed.
one. Yeah. I do worry about.
I think Stephanie is up for the
You think
chop, but I think that would be such a shame because I think she's played a really good game as a faithful. But I think that's who Ari and Christian want gone, don't they?
And I don't think it'd be difficult to convince Suri to do the same. But I don't know if Stephanie's the right person.
Got rid of. Yeah, but Stephanie's Suri's like her. Stephanie and Rachel were kind of a little thing. She's just got rid of Rachel, so getting rid of Stephanie could leave her.
Do you think though
a bit open?
They should. Christian was in the room when Suri said to Cody, "We're getting rid of Ryan because I don't trust your friendship with them."
Mm.
Isn't it time now for Christian and I suppose by extension Ari to do the same to Suri and say you need to show us your true faithfulness to us?
Get rid of a friend.
She
got rid of Rachel, didn't she?
Well,
she just voted her off in the banishment.
Yeah, but she did that to be part of the group mentality of it. I feel like that their next move.
Get rid of Andy then.
It should be Andy.
Shake things up.
That's exactly who I think it should be.
Shake the house.
I think it should be Andy they get rid of next. And then I think you going on your theory. Well, they either go for Kate and just make an obvious banishment.
Yeah, be like, we know you're faithful, but you didn't do the challenges, so we're punishing you.
And so that'd be and then what would there be one more murder after that? If that's the case,
Alan Cumming said there's 2 more banishments.
There's 2 more banishments. But then if that's the case, if they can't, I've just realised something. If they can't get rid of a traitor at the next, not the next round table, but the table after that, that's the game over because the traitors outnumber.
That's what I mean. So there's 1 more normal round table.
Well, no. If the next round table they get rid of Kate, they've won. There's no 10th episode because there is a 10th episode. We know there is, but because there's only 2 faithful left.
No, there's not.
Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people left.
Yeah. 3.
There's a murder tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's 7 people left. There's a murder tonight, which makes 6.
On episode
3
9.
faithful.
So murder on episode 9, then a banishment.
Yeah, no. After the murder, there's 3 faithful and 3 traitors.
Yeah.
So the next banishment, if they get rid of Kate, who's a faithful, there's 2 faithful and 3 traitors. That's the game over. No, they can't vote off a traitor because there's only 2 faithful left.
They can because at the final
they can't.
At the final thing, you throw your thing in the fire, and only one person has to not agree, and then you do another vote until they're gone.
Yeah, but why would the faithful vote out anyone other than why would the traitors vote out anyone but the faithful? They can gang up on anyone on the faithful, all 3 of them. So if they get to the fire,
money.
So
Backstab him.
They backstab so they win more money.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a dumb move because then they're losing out.
Well, no, because the numbers won't make sense. If there's 1 faithful left in there, if Quentin is there with 3 traitors and they've only got rid of Cody.
No, they're going round and round in circles because then if that's the case, then they're just going to keep going round and round and round.
They'll have to sacrifice at least 1 person to be like, there must be more than 1 traitor.
They wouldn't be. That's what I'm saying. They wouldn't be able to do that because there's 2 faithful, 3 traitors left. They're outnumbered, so the traitors have won the game by default. They go, right. Yes, the traitors could backstab, but the only opportunity they could backstab now would be if they do it at the round table. There's 2 round tables left. The next round table, if they get rid of Kate, there's 2 faithful and 3 traitors.
But then you have the final vote with the fire.
No, that's after the 3rd round table.
Yeah, I know, but then if it's not all in agreement, you vote again. You keep voting.
Okay, for argument's sake,
all in agreement.
Next round table, Katie gets voted out. 2 faithful, 3 traitors, right? Next round table, the 3 traitors gang up and they all vote off Stephanie, for argument's sake. 1 faithful, 3 traitors. They're outnumbered. They can't win.
They can.
They can't win.
They can.
That's the game over.
It's not.
It is. You know.
Well, it can't be because there's 10 episodes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it can't be Kate who gets voted off in the next episode. It has to be a traitor who gets voted off next episode.
Well, who is it then?
Christian. Christian's gone.
If you think that means he's not gone then.
because
the editors know.
Because then that would mean there's 3 faithful and 2 traitors left. And so then the game moves on to the 10th day. And then they do another round table. Presumably, I don't know.
There's still a lot of traitors.
Because they don't...
There'll still be
Yeah, but they don't know how many... That's the thing. The faithful don't know there's 3 traitors again. They don't know that a third one's been recruited. Although they kind of, I guess they might do. Because
it's really hard to imagine numbers with faithfuls and traitors as words instead of numbers in my head.
Well, I'm a math genius like
I think
Quentin.
you're missing one faithful though. I think you're one off.
Faithfuls, right, are Stephanie, Quentin, Kate and Andy. Right, so one of them are going to be murdered
So episode
tonight.
9, there's murder.
Yeah, so that means 3 faithful.
Yeah.
3 traitors. Then the round table.
1 banish.
So if one of the faithful if Kate is banished,
so Stephanie murdered, Kate banished. There's still Quentin and Andy.
2 faithful and 3 traitors.
Exactly.
3 traitors. They outnumber them. So if there's another round table, those 3 traitors then choose one person to get rid of.
Suspected of being a traitor, and they keep voting no each time. Quentin keeps saying no, there's still a traitor. They're going to have to.
No, because then they just vote him off. If they go to the fire pit and so let's say for argument's sake in the final,
and all 3 traitors vote off Quentin.
Yes, that's then gone. So there's no point playing the game because by default they've won the game. Wow, that was difficult. Do you understand the rules of the game?
Okay, so you think next episode when we record this podcast, Christian will be gone?
Yes,
no
Christian's,
more.
I think they're going to murder Andy, and they'll then at the round table. I think there'll be too many people saying I think it's Christian, so they'll backstab Christian. Christian will be gone, which will be a great shame because I love Christian. I want Christian to win all the money, but he won't because I think that's what's going to happen. Or they could go for Ari because he's a new traitor. One or the other. Christian or Ari's going. Surrey is safe. Surrey is safe all the way.
All the money then.
Well, it depends then at this point whether Surrey then backstabs the second traitor and then goes for the money all herself, and then if the faithful believe that
they're all faithful. Well, Andy will believe Surrey, and I think Quentin will,
and so will Stephanie.
Oh, is she not dead by now? I thought she was murdered. No.
No. Well, I said Andy would be murdered.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kate might be. No, Kate and Surrey are good friends.
Kate can't be in the final.
Kate and Surrey are good friends. So if Kate's in the final, she'll believe that she's a faithful.
If Kate is in the final, I'll be so annoyed. I'm annoyed already that she's past episode 4. But here we are.
Here we go.
Okay, so that's your predictions then for the
that's my
final.
prediction for the next 2 episodes. Oh my goodness, we got them to watch now.
We have, yeah. I know. I wanted to get over this so I can get on to the next next episode.
I didn't want to do this podcast. I just want to watch TV.
I just want to watch the series, to be honest. But okay, there you go then. So,
do you have any thoughts? Are you not going to give any?
Oh, all that maths is just.
It's not math.
No, I know, but
figuring
it's just
out
too
how
many
many
theorizing with things in my head. It's too.
Okay,
difficult.
we'll leave it that you.
I predict.
Who do you predict is going to win? Traitors or faithful? And
traitors.
Of the traitors and faithful, who's going to win the money?
The only one I think would be traitors, and it'll be Surrey.
I agree.
And she'll be with like either Stephanie or Andy, because that'll be like a really
Andy. Oh, Andy. Yeah.
In the final, Andy or Stephanie, just because against Surrey, and she'll be able to steal the money, and it will just be a big.
Do you want to know who I think is in the final?
Upset.
I think the final is going to be Kate, Surrey, and Quentin. Okay.
Well, 2 episodes to go. We'll see what happens on the next one.
Tense and exciting.
Obviously, get in touch with us, everyone, if you want to send your predictions quickly as we're recording these all as they go.
faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com if you want to send us an email, if you want to tweet us, Traitors Podcast @TraitorsPodcast, and don't forget, give us 5 stars if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or any favourite podcast apps. Please be kind and tell your friends.
This in outro music can actually go up to 3 minutes. So
what do you want to talk about? Have a nice day.
Talk about Andy, talk about Stephanie, talk about Survivor. We'll just talk about the show, shall we? There you go. So that's the end of the episode, and we're on to the semi-finals next.
Penultimate.
Episode 9 of the Traitors US. And you have been listening to Faithful to the Traitors.